Good morning. Hope you have a cup of tea. So, I've already started a little bit putting some makeup. Got my eyebrows put on, and I got white, and I got moisturizer, but I have to moisturize again. Anyway, good morning. Hope you're doing fantastic. I am, I was going to say right in the middle of a murder investigation. No, I'm not. Right in the middle of searching again for information on Martha Moxley, who you're probably sitting back going, I know that name. How do I know that name? Ethel Skakel, or Kennedy Skakel. Yeah, she was a Kennedy. And boy, I tell you, in my humble opinion, it's not a fact, just a viewpoint, don't come for me, but I think they could get away with anything, including murder. In my view, just my view. The things I'm reading about in this particular murder makes me really feel like the father really influenced a lot of things. And I don't know, if you're into this kind of thing, I mean, maybe this is for you, maybe not. But I'm going to continue to do digging. I remember before YouTube, I remember searching the news, and I had to pound the pavement more. You remember before YouTube, right? There was a life before YouTube. And it was like, you dig, you research. I used to think Bobby Kennedy was all that and then some. I thought he is the nicest of all of them. He's the most handsome of all of them. But these people have, in my humble opinion, just all of this is, FYI, just my opinion. They're dark people, very dark. Maybe under the guise of Christianity, don't know, but it appears in the murder of Martha Moxley. Moxley. That information that could have helped the police solve the crime back in, I think it was 75. They could have done their job, but even the police themselves, just in my view, I have police officer friends, so don't come for me. But when there's a murder, right, aren't the police supposed to secure the area that the murder takes place on? Yes, they are. They're not supposed to compromise it by walking all over it. I mean, duh. But in that time, in that place, I guess they probably, this is a very lucrative area, affluent neighborhood. A lot of money flowed back and forth out of that place. And maybe they just weren't prepared. But I just feel like so much of our past has to do with people. Let me open this up. Using that expression. Oh, we didn't know. Back then, we didn't know. Humbug. Well, as you all know, Michael Skakel was charged after writing his book, after his sobriety, and after he got some help. He was charged with the murder because of his book, but that didn't even stick. So I was really happy when he got charged, because look, the crime, Martha Moxley's body. Okay, so October 30th, I'll go back. October 30th, around, what was it, 7 p.m., 6 p.m., something like that. Martha went outside to go hang with her friends. Her mom's like, okay, I'm using my own words. This is, just what I've gotten from searching. And I'm using my own words to fill in the story. So I'm going to create a story for you. And this is my story only. So, okay, honey, make sure you come back by 11. Okay, love you, love you. She goes out the door. And who does she hang with? She hangs with some innocent friends that she got to know. I mean, she's in the area, fairly new. she likes these kids. They all hang out and they talk. And come on, you're 15 years old. You're going to hang with the coolest boys, because, well, gee whiz, one of them wants you. But she liked the other brother. What was his name? Can't remember his name. Very interesting how that was at play. But anyway, so here's Martha, and they decide they want to listen to some tunes. They're going to crank it up in the car because you can't crank it up in the house. You're going to get in trouble. So they crank up the tunes. They're listening to it. She's sitting between one brother and the other. And then all of a sudden, one of the Skakels goes to put his hand, I believe he's in the passenger side. So it possibly could have been his left hand on her thigh or her knee. This is public. This is the public part. So you can search that yourself. She refused his advancements, to my understanding, and he was livid. Now, that early that day, it was said later that the police had ended up, after searching about Mr. Skakel. I think it's Michael with the curly hair. Anyway, it was said that he had been taken off, kicked out of one of the, he was very sportsy, and he was kicked off one of the teams. And of course, this put him in a really fragile emotional state. My view. Take it for what you want to. But I mean, it would upset anybody if you're involved in sports and all of a sudden you're kicked off the one thing that you like. And later on, I mean, he's trying to get all cozy to Martha, but he was also found to be the last person. After they listened to music, one of the cousins came out and said, okay, you got to go. We got to use the car and take, one of the cousins home. And so 4 people were in the car. Martha exited. So did Michael. There's a lot of people in this story. A lot of people. Anyway, so, and this is well over 30 years, like well over that. So, she gets out of the car. He gets out of the car. And she goes to go home. And there's a lot of property. You look up Martha Moxley and her house. And back then, that was their house. And there was a ton of property. And lots of big trees and stuff like that. Well, they did find her deceased body under the big tree. And I just think to myself, what a bloody shame. I mean, you can't blame the parent for saying come home after dark. She's in her neighborhood. She's not far from home. Nobody locked the doors back then. Nothing bad ever happened. Nothing bad. Like nothing. There was nothing. And her body in the golf club. Golf club's found, interestingly, has the match for it at the the Skakel home. So, yeah, there was the body. They found the body. That was Martha Moxley. They found her. They found the golf club. They can't determine. It took what? Something like. It took till the next day to get the coroner to come over. He never even got to see the crime scene. I mean, how stupid is that? I could go on and on and on about this story, but wow. It's fascinating how people F things up and they don't want to, collect evidence, or, people have a lot of money, so it's like, oh, they couldn't be guilty because, they're related to JFK and Bobby and, the whole bloody lot. So they couldn't have done it. Couldn't be their family. Well, look at them all now. Do you know much about the family? By the way, the fellow I'm talking about is deceased now. I gotta open this up. But he got arrested soon after he wrote his book. And he pretty much filled in the story for the police that they had missed all along. He had answered questions in his book that he wrote about sobriety and, you know, whatever, turning over a new leaf. I'm thinking, how much of a new leaf did he turn over if he doesn't come over and confess and go, okay, you know what? I did it. It was me. I'm responsible. I'm here to take responsibility and do with me as you will. Heck, you know what? Even back then as a kid at 15 years old, when, you know, he had committed this crime, if he had said, yes, I did that. I did that. He would have been charged as a minor and probably out of jail. And that's not the point. But he would have been taking ownership instead of having a father, in my opinion. I don't know much about his mom. Like, I have no idea. But, again, I'm in the middle of this story, so I don't have all my facts yet. But the father's buying, you know, silence. And that's why it went quiet for 30 years. That's why Martha Moxley's murder was a unsolved crime for so many years, because the father didn't want his son to hold accountability. What kind of parenting is that? Oh, the father should have been charged because he knew what was going on. He was covering up, in my view. If you look at the public, I have a right to an opinion anyway. Oh, not really in this country, but anyway. In my view, we all have a right to an opinion, and if you read the information, if you watch the crime videos, if you watch all that stuff, and you've read a sufficient amount of public information, you would feel as I do, I'm sure, maybe you won't, that the police went up against, finally when they got their butts in gear, they go to the school where, like I said, the Skakel boy was, and the father was living, you know. I mean, they ring up their lawyers, they ring up the police, they ring up everybody and give everybody a good going over because, oh, how dare you. But first of all, he had given full permission to the police. Can you imagine? He had to give permission to the police because, you know, they're people of a substantial amount of money, as well as related to, it's all who you're related to. The Kennedys. So that's what happened. He blew a gasket, and here's the police. He was trying to find the culprit to Martha Moxley's murder, which just happens to be their son. I mean, I can get protection. I understand that, the need to protect. But I'm going to be honest, if it were any one of my sons and they murdered somebody, I'd stand with my kid and say, look, take your lumps, I'll stand with you. You know, yeah. Get them to take ownership and responsibility. Your kids may be upset with you, angry at you, whatever, doesn't matter. They're going to learn in life that they have to take accountability. That's just my view. Again, my view. My view, my view. And what a bloody shame. 15 years old. 15. She was 15 years old. She didn't have a chance to really start to date or have a boyfriend, make love, you know, have children, have a wedding day she gets to plan. Her parents have a lot of money. She probably would have had a very, you know, a very lovely wedding and an entire guest list. And all of those things were taken away because one boy, in my view, because one boy has a fit about, oh, I can't be, I think it was football or whatever it was. It can't be on the team. He gets thrown off. And she loses everything. And he gets to live some 30 odd years, 40 years, I don't know what it was. Anyway, I'll let you know how that goes. I'm still digging. My digging takes a long time, but it's fun. To me, it's a hobby. I've been involved in looking at and watching. I used to binge on it on TV. I'd save all the cold case before the internet. You know, you get that channel in your package, and you would save all those and watch them. It was awesome. Not awesome that it happened. Awesome to see how they put everything together, the key components together. And a lot of times you could sit back and go, I feel like it's so-and-so. See, all this is, my idea in my head, which means nothing. But it is interesting to be able to go back, look at a case and say, well, seems like, could be. I mean, there's a body, and the golf club belongs to the Kennedys, but, excuse me, correct it. I've got to correct the information. The Skakel family. You can put that together. Wait, take my vitamin D. B. You put it together, but water. Still morning. Not completely awake. Yeah. I wanted to go into criminal. I wanted to become a police officer and go into forensics and take photos. And I didn't do it. I got married right away and to the mistake, and I wasn't able to become a police officer because he had a criminal record. So, I don't know. I spent my life. It's funny because he hated police officers, and they were my friends. They used to drop off for coffee and breakfast. We live so close to two officers, and one retired and one in a high position as a police officer. I just have a lot of respect for them because, especially the ones here. Here, there doesn't seem to be the cover-ups, but in the States, sometimes other countries as well. And maybe here, it depends on who you know. But I just don't think that's fair, And what do you think? Compromising a police investigation, the crime scene itself, should be all, it should have the police tape around it and those little markers and show, okay, this one take a picture of, this one take a picture of, this one take a picture of. And it should be secure. That way they could find the culprit, the perpetrator, if you will, and charge them appropriately. But in the case of Martha Moxley, it always bothered me because it's like a life. She's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful girl. She didn't have a stick of makeup on. Just beautiful naturally, right? Blonde hair and just so lovely. A lovely, she just would shine from the inside out. Every photo I've seen of her, there's plenty to look at. Such a beautiful girl. And for somebody to take that and end that, you want them to have to pay for the crime that they committed. Unfortunately, Michael Skakel was accused, I think was acquitted, whatever, just evaporated, and gotta mix those in. What ended up happening is, he wasn't found innocent or anything like that. I'm just gonna fix that. I don't usually do that, but anyway, looking at it needs to be. Anyway, he didn't pay for it. And then he's dead, so, allegedly, he did it because he was never, he was charged and then I think was dropped. So I can't tell you that for sure he did this because the law states that I'm not allowed to. If you're sitting in front of me, be a different story. I'll be sitting there, tell the whole thing. Anyway, enjoy your cup of tea or coffee. I need to finish mine. And what am I doing today? Working on the kitchen. Washing a lot of dishes. Just a lot of stuff after Easter. Anyway, all of the information I shared is public knowledge of the Skakels, and printed in newspapers, magazines, online, and quoting from seeing actual, documentation from police that they've released out to the public. And again, at this point, Michael Skakel's gone. Martha Moxley's been gone for years, but the son of a gun, he had a chance to be a father and a husband and have all the things that he took away. In my view, he took it away from a young girl. I better go. I'll talk your ear off. This one ain't done. I'm going to go back and I'm doing some more